All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into a theatrical legend, a character so perfectly drawn that honestly, we never really ask how he got that way. We're talking about Cyrano de Bergerac, and we're going to deconstruct his myth through the incredible Panache trilogy. Right? I mean, this is one of the most famous endings in all of theater. It's the final, defiant flourish from what seems like a perfect character. Rostand gave us this hero who was just so complete, so dazzling. It felt like that was the end of the story. But what if it wasn't? See, the Panache trilogy is built on asking these exact questions. It dares to look beyond the masterpiece we all know and love to really explore the man who was wearing that magnificent armor. So, before we can talk about taking the legend apart, we have to start with how it was built. Rostand's original play, Cyrano de Bergerac, that's the masterpiece. It's the blazing center that this whole trilogy revolves around. And this is the Cyrano we meet first, right? He's fully armored, he seems totally invincible, a guy whose sword is just as sharp as his poetry and who refuses to bend for anyone. This is the myth in its absolute purest form before we start to see any of the cracks. So, remember how after the Battle of Arras, the play just jumps? It leaps forward 15 years in a single stage direction. But what on earth happened in that massive gap? Well, the trilogy's sequel, The Shadow and the Flame, actually lives in that silence, and it shows us the true cost of Cyrano's noble lie. And this contrast, wow, it gets right to the heart of the sequel's tragedy. How does a man whose entire identity is built on his passionate, brilliant words learn to say nothing? How does the loudest man in Paris start what is basically a long, painful apprenticeship in silence? Think about that. For 15 years, every single Saturday, he goes to visit Roxane at her convent, and he never once reveals that the beautiful soul she fell in love with was his all along. The sequel just completely inhabits this quiet, agonizing space to show us what that kind of devotion really did to him. And this isn't just him being sad in a corner. We see a hero who is completely worn down, made human by his sacrifice. But he finds a new purpose. He starts mentoring this young man, Leon, teaching him the very power of words that he himself can no longer use for the woman he loves. We're literally watching him rebuild a life from the ashes. Okay, so we've met the myth, and we've mourned the cost of that myth. Now the trilogy takes us all the way back, before the legend, to the forge, where that famous armor was first hammered into shape. The prequel, called Before the Panache, introduces us to a boy named Savignin. And this is not Cyrano. Not yet. He's vulnerable, he's unfinished, and he is not armored in that wit and defiance that's going to make him famous one day. We get to see the slow, painful forging of the man he's destined to become. And this line, this is the soul of the entire trilogy. His legendary panache, that style, that flair, it wasn't some gift he was born with. No, it was a defense mechanism. It was a scar born from some really deep wounds that he taught how to catch the light and shine. Now, you could just read these plays chronologically, right? Prequel, original, sequel. But the trilogy suggests a different, and I think way more powerful order. It's one designed not for the clock, but for emotional impact. I just love this idea. It is so central to the whole experience. It's not about what happened first, it's about emotional understanding. The trilogy is asking us to meet the hero, then to mourn him, and only then, at the very end, to discover why he had to build that armor in the first place. And when you follow this path, every single humiliation that young Savignin suffers, every little act of defiance, it just lands with incredible weight. And why is that? It's because you've already met the magnificent man he's going to become, and you've already witnessed the absolutely devastating price he's going to pay for it. So, what is it that ties this epic, time-spanning story together across 3 totally separate plays? Well, it's the language of his very soul. All 3 plays are written in rhyming alexandrines, and this isn't just a stylistic choice, to be fancy. It's presented as the core rhythm of Cyrano himself. It's the beat of his wit, his passion, his pain. The idea is, to continue his story, you have to speak his language. And here, this table just lays it all out so perfectly. You start with the legend, the perfect armored hero. Then you move to the aftermath, what that armor cost him, the slow erosion of the man inside. And you end at the forge, the painful creation of the armor itself. Each play just peels back another layer of the myth. It's brilliant. And that really is the ultimate goal here. This trilogy isn't trying to fix or replace Rostand's masterpiece. Not at all. It's an act of love. It's an attempt to understand a character we all love so much more deeply by bravely following him into the shadows his original author left unexplored. And in the end, by deconstructing Cyrano, we might just understand ourselves a little bit better. The trilogy leaves us with this really powerful question. What are the origins of our own panache? What are the beautiful, brilliant things we've built to protect our most vulnerable selves? Something to think about.